This is By the Numbers, a podcast brought to you by the University of South Alabama's Mitchell College of Business. Welcome to By the Numbers. This is Dionne Castor. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications here at Mitchell College of Business. And today we have G. Tashbin, who is an instructor of data analytics classes here at Mitchell College of Business. Welcome, G.
Welcome. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Good.
And as always with me is Shane Monagle and Brylan Shirley. They are MBA students here at Mitchell College of Business. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
And I usually hand the mic off to these guys, so go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dionne, and thanks, G, for joining us today.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this one for a while.
Yeah.
G.
I appreciate it.
We talk to you all the time in the hallway. Now it's time to really do it live.
Official conversation, yeah. This is By the Numbers, number 15, hosted by me, Shane.
And me, Brylan.
And we'll get started straight into it. So, early life and background. Could you tell us a little bit about your early life and your upbringing and kind of what influenced you to eventually, study maths and go into this career in academics?
Okay. Both my parents are immigrants to the United States. My father's originally from Iran. My first name is actually Ghulam Reza. My father, when he was in Iran, there was an Iranian wrestler. It was the first Iranian wrestler to ever win a gold medal for the country. And he said, if I ever have a son, I'm naming my son after this idol that he had growing up. So I was named after Ghulam Reza, the gold medal winning wrestler.
That's incredible.
From Iran. Ironically, my mother is an immigrant from she's from Puerto Rico. So she lived in Puerto Rico and then came to the United States. And then she named my sister, kind of a quick funny story. I was born in January of 1975. My younger sister was born in December of 1975. So we're Irish twins, essentially.
Yeah.
So Shane can appreciate that, right? Because my mom always tells me that.
Exactly, yeah.
But my mother named her. Her name is Amy, A-M-Y. So my entire life, they're introducing their kids. Here's my daughter Amy and my son Ghulam Reza. And I feel like in the movie Men in Black, when they introduced the two little aliens at the front, one of them, they couldn't say the name, the other one was Bob. That was my whole life. So, I always joke with my parents about that. But I do appreciate my father naming me after somebody that he idolized when he was a kid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's part of where my math background came from my father. My father's an engineer. Mm-hmm. He came over to the United States when we had great relations with Iran. Mm-hmm. The Shah was in power, and he came to college here and stayed. And he worked for the U.S. Corps of Engineers for 35 years, and now he does contract work. He's 77. And my mom, my personality comes from my mom. My mom loves people. She's very outgoing, friendly, loves to talk. So I get my personality from my mom, and she actually was an international banker her whole life.
Dang,
so
cool.
It's kind of interesting. And
Yeah.
they settled in Mobile because my father, just a funny story, my father said when he graduated from South Florida, he had two job offers. One of them was to go to Omaha, Nebraska, and Mobile, Alabama. So my father grew up in Iran, and he went to college in Florida. He said, I'm going to Mobile, and that's what happened. We've been here ever since. So.
Nebraska will be a lot colder.
Oh, yeah.
He's been around anyway. Yeah.
He doesn't like the cold, Mm-hmm. So that's how we ended up here. And I think that combination of both parents, I guess, I'm an ethnic mutt, if you will, because I'm a mixture of the two. And but I think it's been great. Grew up here in Mobile, Alabama. So even with my accent, a lot of my students, because when I talk about my class, they see my name on the class, and they're like, "Oh gosh, you speak English." I'm like, "Yeah, I speak English." So,
There's a small bit, yeah.
it's a small thing.
Did you ever consider getting the wrestling then with that kind of heritage and that name?
Ironically, I grew up playing sports. I played football, basketball, baseball. We didn't have a lot of wrestling around here.
Yeah, it's not very big in Alabama for some reason. I mean, there's definitely plenty of wrestling teams, but it's not prioritized like it is in other states.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. Kind of like soccer as well. Soccer's also not really prioritized in Alabama.
It's funny, as a kid, my father loved soccer. He grew up in Iran where they played soccer. One of my goals is to take him to the World Cup when it comes to the United States.
Oh, yeah.
I want to take him to see a match. But he loves soccer, but this is kind of crazy. He came to the United States and fell in love with basketball. So my father is 77. He goes to the rec center here and plays basketball. If you're ever in the rec center.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and you see about a 6-foot Persian man with a big handlebar mustache. That's my father. He's still
Don't mess with him. He will cross you over.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. So that's part of the reason I fell in love with basketball as a kid, and then I played football and baseball. And about 35 years old, my body said, we're not doing this anymore. Cashed all those checks that my young body had written. So
Well, what initially sparked your interest in education? Did you have, I know you said that your dad kind of got you interested in math, but what ultimately made you decide that you wanted to pursue a career in education?
Interesting, when I was in college, I was actually going to become an engineer. I was on track to become an engineer just like my father. I idolized my father. I wanted to be just like him. And then my mother and I sat down and talked, and I said, you know, the math wasn't the problem. I was happy doing all that stuff. But she said, son, your personality, you need to do something with people.
Yeah, yeah.
And so in college, I did an internship where I was tutoring people all the time, and I love people. I get energy from people. And talked to my father. My father's an introvert, and he said, look, I sit at my desk, I do my work, I pass my stuff. He said, son, I don't see this being something you want to do.
I don't think you would enjoy that, yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of talked to me, and he said, but if you want to do it, you'd be a great engineer. Ironically, my oldest daughter turned 23 this weekend, graduates from the University of Alabama with an electrical engineering degree. This weekend coming up, she's coming home, she's going to be an engineer.
Yep.
Perfect. So my father's excited because she's following in the footsteps, and then so it just worked out. It worked out, and I love people. I get energy. I can do this. I think for the rest of my days. You know?
That's amazing. You give great energy anyway, always. Whenever we pass you in the hallway, it's always such a smile, uplifting.
It's you guys, though. I mean, your students. I say, you know, I mean, truly, students like you, I love meeting good people. I've become friends with students over the years. Some of my closest friends currently are students that I had previously. So I love it. I'm planning on doing this until I'm gone.
That's great. It's kind of what you want to hear as a student. Someone so passionate about people. Because it's not just like, you can get so many lectures that can be, you know, maybe have the academics nailed, but can't really get it across to the students. But you really obviously enjoy getting everything you know across and getting them ready for the real world and everything.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's why I'm excited to talk about that today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
We're excited to hear your plan that you've been running here for a while.
But you actually went to Spring Hill for your undergrad and your postgrad, didn't you?
I did. I ended up. Spring Hill had a program where you could do 3 years and then transfer to either Auburn or Georgia. You get a math undergrad and then split off and get an engineering degree. Well, after that third year, I decided to stay. And then my mother, I told you, was in business, so I decided to get an MBA afterwards.
Yeah.
And while I was getting my MBA, I was a teacher at my local high school that I went to. I was a math teacher and a coach. Loved it. It was incredible.
Man, you were busy.
Yeah. Oh man, but that was fun. I remember my old coach called me and said, "Hey, I heard you graduated with a math degree. Do you want to come teach math and coach sports?" I was like, "Yes."
What sport did you coach?
I coached football, basketball, and this is going to sound weird, but they said, hey, back then for every sport you coach, you got a supplement. And the coach laid it out. I love basketball and football. He said, pick something that's left. And I looked on the list and I said, I don't know anything about any of these sports. And then one of the students was like, well, I play tennis. Why don't you coach tennis? I would sit out there with my lemonade, and the kids just did a great job, and it was fun. But I enjoyed being around the kids.
Yeah.
So it was just a good time.
Like, I don't know much about tennis, but I'll tell you, we're going to have a great time.
Oh yeah, it was great. I'd get the sun on my face, drink lemonade, and they'd play. So it was fun, and just let me be around students. Part of the reason, just kind of interesting, that I transitioned from high school to college was when I had my own children. Because I spent a lot of time at the school. I loved it. I was mentoring students. I'm still friends with students today. So when I had my own kids, a position opened up here at South to teach math. So I came over here and taught math, and then I had my own kids, and I would coach them in their little sports. I have 2 daughters. So it was a natural transition for me.
Yep.
You know?
Awesome. Well, I mean, through your time at Spring Hill, and then, you know, once you started working as well, coaching, doing all this, did you have any like mentors or any just like pivotal, sorry, I can't even say that word. Pivotal. That is right. Yeah. Pivotal moments that just kind of set you on course to become, you know, such a great teacher that you are now. Like, did you have any professors that really influenced how you run things here, or is that just something you made up yourself?
Actually, I mean, I've had great teachers my whole life, but one teacher stands out. I'll never forget. Her name was Dr. Patricia O'Neill. She taught English. You know, she taught poetry, all kinds of stuff. I remember when I was at Spring Hill College, and I was friendly with everybody, and I had multiple students tell me, this is before they had online, so you couldn't go look at Rate My Professor or ask. So I had to ask students, and they were like, don't take her. She hates males. She hates them. she's a feminist. She can't stand guys. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't, I grew up with mother, two sisters, aunts. I have 2 daughters. Why? I mean, I'm used to being around. So I was like, let me try taking her class. Her class was amazing. I loved it. One of the best things she did, she told me I reminded her of her brother, and I was very friendly with her. She took me under her wing, and I actually wrote a poem that got published, and we did a play that got published because she helped me do this. So this is back in the day.
Dang.
This is and she was very pivotal in terms of she taught me that if you get to know students, just know their name. You just know their name. Now, Spring Hill was small. If you get to know their name, they'll appreciate that. And I'll never forget just her contribution in my life. And Dr. O'Neill, God bless you wherever you are. I don't know where she is now, but she did some amazing things for me and made me realize that I could be a teacher because I hadn't thought about it at that point. This was sophomore year. So, I mean, there's been a lot of good ones, but she always stands out to me. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And then you're saying like you like to treat your actual class like a business here, the classes you teach.
Correct.
Would you like to get into that a bit more? And
Yeah.
So day one, students show up in my class. It's a statistics. It's analytics, statistics. Students show up. I know students. I've taught math, statistics. They don't like it. They want to get in there. They're groaning.
Yeah, like, oh gosh, not a math class.
Yeah, they're like,
I'm gonna fail.
Exactly. That's exactly what they think. They're like, I don't like math and statistics. Well, that's an issue anyway. In the United States, we have a problem in terms of teaching and students learning mathematics. So I've tried to help that. So day one, I tell them, I say, welcome to onboarding on your position at our company. And they're like, what?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? I said, this is our company. I'm the CEO. You guys are being hired in. This is day one. By week 2, I know all their names. And what I do is, as they come in, I take roll by asking people, hey, what's your name? And then I connect their face or something that they say to me. And then, so by week 2, I know all their names. So when they come in, I start naming them, and they're shocked. I've had students, after week 2, they're like, I'll name everybody in the class who's there. And then people who are not there, I'll constantly email them and say, hey, noticed you weren't in class today. I know we're getting started. And then they're like, oh, thank you for checking on me. I can't believe this. So I tell them, this is a job. You got to show up every day. Every day we're going to learn something new. So I tell them we're not doing a class. I'm doing training sessions. I'm training them. And I'm
preparing them for the future.
Correct. Really. Yeah. Because what I show them is in our class, this is business school, so I can use that. I can leverage that. I say everything we do, for example, a lot of statistics courses, academics is one of the few places where something can be behind 100 years and people still pay for it. So if you teach a class and you do something, let's say you do hand mathematics and statistics, people will still do it and pay for it. It's amazing because we're not doing that in any other aspect of our life.
No.
Right? I'm not. I don't cut a tree down with a butter knife. I use a chainsaw because I have the equipment to do it. So I always tell students when they get in there, I say, we're not doing any hand work. And they're like, what?
Yeah, I mean, because that's not really how, corporate America and how anything runs anymore. There's not much of a point in, knowing how to do that.
Correct. So what we do is I tell them we're going to use technology. We're going to collect data, use technology. But what I want them to be able to do, and this is the next level, if you will, is I want them to identify the situation. We want to ask a question that specifically answers this, whatever we're doing. And there's multiple topics. Then I want them to be able to identify the tool we're going to use. Once they identify the tool, we take the data, we let technology grind it out, and then give us the results. And then the next thing I teach them is how to interpret those results.
Yep.
Then we make decisions. And man, they love it. So we don't spend our class time doing handwork. I make jokes. I have some friends over in arts and science teach math, and they do it the old school way. This is how students should do it. And I'm like, I'm in the College of Business.
Yeah, maybe 80 years ago.
Exactly, yeah. And I tell them, I say, we're in the College of Business. We got to make money.
Yeah, we're being innovative over here.
I joke with my students all the time. I say, look, here's what I want you to do. I teach them something, and I say, I want you to be able to do this. I'm going to go to Topgolf with the clients at lunch. When I get back, I want a decision. And that's what that class time is about. So I tell them that's how I want you to treat it. So I'm not going to lock you in a room for an hour and say, here's paper, pencil. Get it done.
Work away.
Yeah. Get it done. If you get it done in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, when I get back, have a decision. And then we always talk about the results because statistics, once you get the numbers, we could have 5 different decisions. They're all okay.
The numbers could tell you everything. I mean,
there's no one correct answer when you have data. You find out what it says. It's information. I need to back up for a second too. On day one, I show them this example that I found back in 1999, my first year teaching at the high school. I found this example in a math book. It's crazy. I found this example. It has two pizza. Has two pizza examples. One of them's a 16-inch pizza, and one of them has two 10-inch pizzas. And I put it on the board. They can see it. It's up. And I say, which one's the better deal? And I tell them, don't write anything down. Just use your intuition. And they always say the two mediums, 10 inches, are better deal. Always. And it's happened for. I've been teaching now 25 years. Happened every year for 25 years.
Dang.
I joke with my wife. I say, if a class ever gets it correct, the majority, I'm going to take you on a
pizza date.
Well, I told her, I said, we're going to do the cruise you want to do. We're going to get the lobster. We're going to get the champagne. I haven't had to do it. I haven't put any money back because I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So think about 1999. You gentlemen, were you even born in 1999?
He was just born. I wasn't even born.
Yeah, December of 1999 when I was born. So it was probably before that.
It was before that. So it's August 1999 I found this example. So that tells you how long this has been going. Nobody's ever gotten it right. No class.
So what is it again? You have the 16-inch one pizza and then two
10-inch
10 inches?
pizzas. Yep. And
Yeah,
I say, same price.
Yeah.
What's the better deal? How much? Who? And then they always tell me the two mediums.
It's area. It's pi r squared. Yeah.
It's just basic area. But if we do the calculation on the board, you get 23% more pizza if you get the large at 16 inches than the two mediums.
I've actually done this in a real life example.
Really?
There's a place we used to go to had an 18-inch pizza. That was like €5 more than the 16-inch or something like that. But we'd split the 12 inches saying in two 12 inches, but it worked out so much better getting the 18-inch because it was such a much bigger area. And we're out there in the car doing pi r squared, working out the actual exact area of the pizza.
That's so cool. Yeah, because students, I'll tell them, they're like, "Oh, this is some mystery," and I'm like, everybody's seen area of a circle. There's only one variable in there. It's radius. There's no other variable. So then
everything else is constant.
It's constant. Yep. So then we show them, and then I show them that they get more pizza. And nobody's gotten it right. Maybe after they hear this podcast, somebody's going to eat. And I say,
cheaters.
They'll hear this podcast. Well, that's good though. That means they're listening to our podcast.
Yeah,
right?
Your wife's going to be really happy.
She'll be really happy. She gets to go on that cruise.
Yeah.
But the funny part about that is after we do this, I tell them that our class. This is day one, by the way. This is absolute day one. I say our class is to take data, which we just did. Crank it out using some technology is going to run the formulas and things for us, and it's going to give us the answer, which is the area, and then we make decisions.
Yep. So
then once I tell them, I say, if we're just basing this off pure economics, which is you got to go with the large. Then I open it up for discussion. And then I say, would anybody still, now that you have the information, because that's what our class is about, is getting the data, the information, then you make a decision. I have students raise their hand and say, well, I'd still go with the two so I didn't have to have somebody touch my pizza. I'm not as worried. I said, that is a correct decision.
Valid point, yeah.
I said, that's a correct decision, but you use the numbers to make that decision.
Yeah.
Don't make the decision off intuition, So we talk about it, and it's great. Some of them will say other things, and I say, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Now, if we're running a business, so I back up and say, if we're running a business and we're on the ownership side, which one do we want them to buy? And they're like, oh, we want them to buy the two mediums because we save dough, we save marinara. The box might be negligible, the extra box. They're like, oh, okay. And I said, you make a decision. We make decisions every day.
Yeah.
Let's get the numbers. So that grabs them day one. They're just like, oh my gosh. So
sounds like a very good open discussion kind of class. And so you kind of do it by projects mainly. Is it that how you do the workload, the syllabus?
Yeah, I treat it as everything they do, homework, even our tests are online, and there's a reason for that. Our homework is their projects. I say, hey, our projects due Sunday night. I teach them, I train them. I don't call them teaching. I say, I train you to do this. The homework, and you can make 100 on the homework because you can continue to do it. That's the practice.
Yeah.
And I tell them, if you do, I've got a project Monday morning when you come in to work. I said, I'll bring the coffee and donuts. I want you to tell me what we do. And that's what your homework tells me. I said, so I'll look and I'll say, okay, if they didn't make 100, which they should because they can continue to do it until they make 100, I say, well, if you're at work and you work for me and you make a 50, how am I going to keep you at work? I don't.
You gotta make up for that.
Exactly. That goes along with
really.
one of my jobs is to keep them employable. So what I brought here today was one of my students, a military guy, owns his own business. He brought this to me. He said, hey, because I always tell him, I say, in the mornings I drink coffee, I train you guys, and I keep you employable by keeping you, training you to a certain level. He brought me this. He said, look, I had this made for you. Yeah. And he said, because you like to drink coffee and keep people employable. So I have to show you guys this. One of my students, have I showed you this? She said, she made this for me. You see where it says unemployable? She said, this is the shirt you want to give out. Because I tell some of them, I said, some of you guys, because I give them the chance to come see me. See me. And I said, some of you guys are making yourself unemployable. And that's sad. That's
do you mind reading off the full quote here on the cup?
Yeah. So my military guy, I'm gonna give him a shout out, Charles Johnson. Great gentleman.
Does he sell cups with print on them? Is that his business?
No,
or?
Actually, he has a lawn care business, but it's pretty extensive. And what he did was he had cups made for his people with their logo on it, and he had one extra cup made for me with this on here. Wow. And so it's a Yeti cup because I joke that I don't eat breakfast. I'm old. When I was young, like you guys, you gentlemen, my body doesn't burn near like it used to. So I just drank 2 cups of coffee, and then I'm rocking. I'm off 2 cups of coffee right now. And then it says employable is an adjective, and it says capable of being employed. And so I tell all my students, my job is to train you and keep you employable. And the skills they learn in my class, something I love to do with my students as well is I offer my class via Zoom, so they can do it. I'll give you an example. I tell them it's like telecommuting at a job. Yeah. Because I have some students, let's say they live in Mississippi and something happens. And before they just wouldn't come to class. And now with technology, I say, well, then you can Zoom. And I've had them Zoom in. I have multiple students Zoom in from somewhere other location.
Yeah, that way, I mean, even if they can't make it to class for XYZ reason, I mean, they can still get the content. They can still learn everything from, anywhere, as long as they have some Wi-Fi.
If you're treating it like a business, that's, totally applicable. Like, hybrid working is just getting more and more popular in remote jobs. So
exactly.
At least it's realistic.
I have some students that do perfectly fine, and they telecommute, if you will, most of the time, and I'm fine with that. I also tape all my classes. So I tell them
you can go back and watch it later, Yeah.
So, I mean, I've got, for example, I have athletes. You guys know, I have athletes that'll go on the road and say, hey, they'll bring me the sheet, and I'm like, you're good. If you can't Zoom it, because I know you're at conference or whatever, just watch the video. And some of my athletes have just loved the fact that they're doing it. Plus, they don't have to come back and see me. I have a lot of students. I can't, used to be I would have to try to reteach some of some people individually. Now I don't do that, and they're great. I have students apologize to me when they don't come to class. They're like, I'm sorry I didn't make it to work. Please don't say I'm unemployable.
So don't fire me from this class.
Exactly. I've had
even though I have an A and you can't really fire me.
It's so fun. I joke with someone will send me an email going, I'm sorry I missed the 2 days this week. I said, please don't fire me. I'm like, we got time. We got time to work on you. So.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I want to get into just more about your class and how you run it as a business, and just kind of diving a little bit deeper on something you said. So you said basically you're training people to not only gather data, they gather the data, they interpret it, and then you get them to make informed decisions based off of the data that they gathered and interpreted. And I just want to get into how important and useful that is in, the real working world. Because, I mean, in like any data analytics job and really any business period, this is a, crucial thing that every business has to do. And there has to be people there that are collecting data, interpreting it, and helping make informed decisions based on that. So if you could just go in a little bit and, just highlight how important that is for all of your students' future.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what field you go into nowadays. Data analytics is important.
You have to have it.
You have to have
or
it.
Or you'll make, dumb decisions.
Yeah, and if you wait and say, oh well, math and statistics are for a small few. I always tell my students everybody can do this.
Yep.
I'm gonna give you a great example. My wife, when I met her, hated mathematics. She did, and I actually was her tutor for a while. She's 3 months older than me, but she had gone back to school after working. Yeah. And she hated it, so I was her tutor. That helped.
Yeah. And I'm sure.
And she hated math for the longest time. Well, she's a principal of an elementary school here in town, and she uses data more than I do. Because, I teach data analytics and I look at data, but she uses it all the time. And we've had discussions at the house, and so education uses it. Every aspect of business. Even my accounting people have said, we use data. So everything is data run.
Yep.
Another funny thing is I share an Amazon account with my daughters and my wife, and I'll see things pop up, and I'm like, why does it say I would like this 2-piece bathing suit? This is not for me. But it's because they're using data.
Yeah.
They're using data in marketing. They're using data all the time. Even the pizza example we talked about, that's using data is there, but they don't think people are going to go actually crunch the numbers like Shane, like you had to do, and they use it as a tool.
Yeah.
So I think it's everyday decisions from.
It really is.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so important. And then even here in the college, I think it's great. We have 3 data analytics courses that are required for our students, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Other
great.
universities aren't necessarily doing 3. We're offering a 4th class that in the fall that's going to allow you to get data analytics 4, where it's research oriented. So I think that's going to be helpful. Our finance students take econometrics, which is also it's the 3rd.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys said?
Actually, I did that as in my undergrad. One of my lectures were my modules, whatever, was econometrics and forecasting.
Good. Yeah. So that's great.
It's a heavy part of economics.
Yeah.
It is. And it's another aspect. It's our 3rd course for our finance major. I think about 25% of our students are finance major, so they go that route. But it's still the same thing. It's still using data to make decisions.
Yeah, I just see, the way that you're teaching the class, I just see it as a very innovative approach because especially now, like with the internet and all the just digital business, prior to the internet and having all, like Google Analytics and all this trackable data, I mean, companies weren't able to leverage that and use it to their benefit. But now, like, every company is able to track demographics and, I mean, just every little detail about everything. And it's just the more that people learn how to leverage that and utilize that data to make informed decisions, like, I just see it being a really big thing in the future, and that's just super awesome that, you're preparing your students for the future in that way.
Yeah. We're in the era of big data. That's the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Data,
It's what's happening. So, every single company has that data access.
And,
needs
the
some
more
insight.
they have, the better decisions they can make.
Exactly.
And like you said with the forecasting as well, I mean, with enough data over a long period of time, you can truly forecast, and predict things that will happen in the future.
Yeah.
I tell students, I'll give you an example, Mobile, restaurants. Restaurants come and go in Mobile. And I've talked to some friends in the industry. Ones that have been doing better are using the data from the community. Mobile is a finicky community when it comes to food.
Yeah.
So they've been using data to try to stay ahead. Look at Chick-fil-A. I always talk about Chick-fil-A in my class. Look what Chick-fil-A does to keep customers. I mean, the way they collected data and said, hey, if we run efficient queues, people are going to come. If we give them a good product, people are going to come. Their ice cream machine always works. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, come on, McDonald's.
I know, because I'm a McDonald's guy, because when I was your age, that was where we went,
Yeah.
But I go there now, and they'll be like, my ice cream machine's down. I go, you know what, I'm just going to Chick-fil-A.
Man, how am I supposed to get my Oreo McFlurry then?
Exactly.
What am I supposed to do?
But the data, I mean, we've seen that in class, where the data that Chick-fil-A used to get, they're closed, they're closed on one day of the week, and they're still behind. They're still second to McDonald's in terms of and they're not in every state. They're not everywhere.
Not even close.
Not even close to McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, McDonald's is worldwide. Chick-fil-A is really just mainly in the South. I mean,
But they're second in sales behind McDonald's.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. But they use data to make these decisions, and I think it's incredible. And we talk about it in class, because I'll ask students, I'll say, what do you think's the top? And this generation says Chick-fil-A, and they know it. They just don't know why. And then we talk about why the data has been used, how the data's been used.
They're definitely the best and the most efficient, probably the most profitable as well, but
It's
I don't
funny.
know, they're not as big as McDonald's.
Yeah, but give them a real world
They
example.
will be eventually, though.
Yeah. Like, give them that kind of real world example actually gets them interested, because they're thinking, okay, how do they actually do it, rather than just a problem on paper and then doing longhand statistics.
Yeah, like,
Work
how
out the
can I
maths.
apply this, really?
I'll give you a good example, too, because I lead in with, we do a restaurant example in one of my first classes where the customers are not satisfied with the restaurant, so then the owner makes a change without collecting data. And then we find out a year later, has anything changed? Well, nothing's changed. We see it statistically. And then we have that open discussion, and then students will start saying, well, did they find out what the customers wanted? That would be that's another thing we can do, because once we find that, we can go find information out afterwards. It's not just that data. So, I'll give you guys a quick sports example, because I know you guys are sports gentlemen. I had a student in class one time, he was a basketball player, real nice guy. And I asked him, I said, man, I need to come see you play. And he goes, I'm be honest with you, I don't play much. And I said,
Yeah.
Really? He said, no, I don't get to play as much. And I said, well, but you're on the team. He goes, my coach told me he was recruiting a left-handed three-point shooter because that was their weakest statistical hole.
Yeah.
He found me, said, I'll give you a partial scholarship to come play for us because I need you. Statistically, I need you to come off the bench.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. So he literally got a half scholarship because of
statistics.
Because of statistics.
Dang.
And I thought that was, he was smiling. They paid half my way here.
Yeah.
He said, I sit on the bench, and then when they call me in, I shoot threes. I was like, this is incredible.
That is a strategic coach.
It's a smart coach, yeah. That's someone taking a new approach.
That's pretty good. I know you
Is that our
gentlemen-
current head coach now that did that?
This was years ago. Yeah, this
Okay,
was years
okay.
ago. This was I mean, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But
That's
I mean,
interesting. I didn't know they recruited like that sometimes.
I've talked to some baseball guys, and they say they do that sometimes with left-handed relief pitchers.
Yeah.
They'll even if they don't play much,
Yeah,
they
it
need
makes
them in
sense.
situations.
Because you can really confuse the defense, really, and really just confuse the other teams by tossing in those other people. Because, I mean, most of the time, someone's shooting with the right hand. Everyone's used to blocking, prioritizing that right side. And then all of a sudden, this new guy comes out, pops it in his left hand and busts a three. And you're like,
Yeah.
I went to the wrong
What are the odds
side.
of that? Yeah.
I joke with my wife. I said, because I don't have any sons, but I said, if we have grandson, I'm going to tie his right hand to his body. I'm going to teach him how to do everything
Yeah.
left-handed because I know there's scholarships
Yeah.
out there.
Baseball, too. I mean, all of my friends that play baseball say they cannot stand left-handed pitchers because it's just so different. It's so
Yeah.
confusing. It's like a completely different batting style whenever someone's left-handed. So
Absolutely, yeah.
I imagine tossing in a different guy, switching it up throughout the game, keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah, and statistics is used in sports.
I was about to say, yeah, it's huge in baseball. Like the first game I went to, they had like all the batting
Yeah,
averages,
live time.
live statistics. It's like so statistical heavily. Or
Like
statistically
after
heavy.
every single hit,
Yeah.
so-and-so just increased their batting average to point blah, blah, blah. And you're like, holy crap. Like,
Yeah.
they really just did that right here. Who's in the little office with Excel?
Yeah, I mean, if you think just kind of a quick snapshot, like statistically, I'll give you a quick example for me, like in just our life, right? So I wake up in the morning, I drink coffee, I put coconut oil in my coffee every morning because statistics show that it helps reduce your cholesterol.
Yep.
I do it every morning.
My mom does that as well. Anytime I'm at her house, I'd have a whole spoonful of coconut oil in my coffee as well.
Yeah, and because statistics show, right? And it has
Yeah.
shown. It's proved to me, right? So then I come to work, I teach statistics. Then I go home, and I'm a big Cubs fan in baseball. They're using statistics. We use it in our jobs. We use it to decide when my wife says, hey, what are we going to do for dinner? I'll use numbers to make decisions. So I use it all day long.
Yeah.
And if you show students how important that is, that they're using it, sometimes even without knowing, it's been great. My attendance has been fantastic. Students love coming to class. My relationships afterwards, students come see me for a long time, and like I said, I've become close with them. So I love it. It's been a really good transition. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I thought I was a good teacher when I started out. I wasn't. I was at the board. I'm like, hey, I know this stuff. And I was like, now I feel like, now it's taken me a long time.
Yeah.
It's taken me as long as I've been married, 25 years, to get to the point where I feel like now I can get students involved, get them excited.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad I made it there. But I was telling my wife that. I said, man, I'm going to apologize to my students when I first started because I was not a good teacher back then.
We hear nothing but good things now. From any of your students coming out of the classes, they love it. They find it like such a. I think Angelina said it's such a breath of fresh air compared to some other classes.
Yeah. Oh, I've met some great young people.
She did say that literally today.
Yeah.
Good. And look, they come see me all the time. So these are the things that I'm hoping is, because I know this podcast is also to help recruit. The background with high school students helped me a lot. I had my own children. My daughters are 19 and 23. I have had them.
Yep.
And then just working, I've transitioned my whole teaching, if you will, to engaging people. Because I'll be honest with you, it's boring standing up there talking, and I make my students talk too. I don't pick on anybody, but I make them talk. I say, hey, what do you think? And then they'll pop it and we communicate. And another funny example, in my class, students I'll say, so I'll ask them a question about a topic we've learned, and then somebody will raise their hand and they'll say something. And if it's not correct, I'm like, that is a great point. that is something that's important. And they're like, it's wrong, isn't it? I go, no, there are no wrong answers in this class. Until you take the test is where I decide whether I'm going to keep you after your 4-month probationary period at the company. So they laugh about it. But then they're open, they talk with each other. This is a special place. College is a special place where you get to meet people. I get to meet 2 young people that I might not get. I might see you guys in the grocery store and we just wave, and that's it.
I mean,
then I get to know you, and I feel that with all my students. So it's a remarkable thing to be a teacher.
it is, and you get to meet so many new people every single year.
Yeah.
You know, like if you had a different job where you just kind of stay in the same office with the same people for a long period of time, you never get to really make those new connections. But being here, I mean, every single year you get new people you never met new before. Class. I can imagine that's extremely exciting.
It
is. Like, just like you said, by getting your class to engage and getting everyone to talk, I mean, that just creates a really awesome environment for all the students and for you. Because, I mean, no one wants to just go and sit in class and just, dozing off, reading off PowerPoints, just super boring. Everybody wants to have that fun, engaging class experience. But, I mean, ultimately, it's up to the teacher, and I know you're doing an amazing job at it, but it's up to the teacher to kind of set that environment from the start. And then, once all of the kids start to open up and start talking, I mean, it's a beautiful experience. I mean, those are always my favorite classes where I feel like, at any time, if you say something that sparks my interest, I can raise my hand or just, talk out, speak freely. It's awesome.
Oh, it's been great. Another thing you made me think about with my students is like when we do the test, some of them will say, hey, I didn't make the score that I thought I could. Mm-hmm. Can we look over it? And I go, yes, set an appointment with me. I want to say, and I told them it'd be like if you were at work. If you're not doing something properly, I want to meet with you and I want to help you. I want to work with you. So I give them the opportunity. And the students that come see me, they just blossom. Now, some of them don't. I mean, it's human nature. Some people just don't. But I always tell my students, I'm always open. They show up. We go over it. I have truthfully, honestly, you have to work harder to fail my class.
Yeah.
My students are doing well. It's an exciting time. Because look, I don't want to be a road bump on their career. I want to be a stop where they can get off, rest, learn something, and then get back on the road. So that's what we always talk about because, I know sometimes we use, in academics, we use math and statistics as gatekeeper classes.
Yeah.
And when they reach me, we're ready to keep moving. So that's helpful, too. They know that we care, and, I've got a lot of good stories. We probably have to talk about those sometime off, but some good stories of some students who have just really turned the corner, and not just in academics, but in their life. And they said, man, you being there for me helped me out a lot. And I'm like, I sleep better at night because of that.
Yeah, like maybe they started off in a bad path, but, you're able to help them get back on their feet grades-wise. Who knows, outside of school, what was going on, being able to come into that good, healthy environment. I can imagine how it could seriously change people's lives.
It must be great having that feeling that you're actually making a difference.
It does. It's funny. I go home. My wife's always like, because my wife's tired when she gets home. She deals with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm always still energized. And she's like, when I retire, I want to teach college with you. So we got 5 years.
These kids are crazy at this elementary school.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out sometimes. But I'm always energized. I'm ready to go. So. But it's because of the energy, like you said. I feed off people. I feed off positive energy.
And coffee.
And coffee, yeah.
Can't forget that.
Another funny, last fall, she switched our coffee. She's like, I'm going to try something new. And I was like, we got to go back to what we had because it wasn't doing the same job. So.
And going back to the classroom, you're saying you use new technologies. You're not keen with the old times of traditional statistics and maths. What kind of programs, technology do you use? And are you starting to incorporate AI or letting the students use like AI with their statistics? That's kind of, I see where it's kind of going. Like a lot of data can be done, like coding can be done very quickly now with AI. Yeah. So how do you? So
it's interesting you say that. I've had some discussions internally. We are trying to move to using AI more. We haven't yet. And then currently, we have good software here. We use them for our graduate programs, for example, SPSS. But SPSS is expensive. Per license, we're up to $1,200, I think, per license.
Wow. Yeah.
So what we've done just to kind of help students is I teach everything in Excel. Basic Excel will do the basic functions.
Yeah.
And I always tell them in class, I say when Shane, you go work for Amazon, they're going to give you better software and train you on it. This is the beginning. We're just because it's free. Everybody has access to. The university requires access.
It'll help you get the concept for sure.
Correct. And it does the work. It just doesn't do it as quickly but it still
I
does.
mean, if anything, Excel's more complicated than whatever system the company you work for probably has. So I mean, if you can run Excel, then you could probably run that with your eyes closed.
Yeah, I always tell them. I tell them that once we get through this. Now I don't. When I first started the class, we actually built a bunch of things, but then I decided. I said, wait a minute, they're not going to have to do this unless they're in programming. So as it has evolved, I give them. They have those things already, and I tell them, look, the most important thing is identify what question you want to ask. Do I want to find out if this product works in this market?
Yep.
Then decide which tool will answer that specific question, because there's a lot of different questions you can ask. Then they pick the tool. That's important. The tool is quick, efficient, spits out some numbers. Then you make decisions based off that. And like I said, there's really no wrong decisions. Now, does that mean that some of the businesses off the decision might not be successful in the future? Well, that's a learning experience. Not every business is successful, but they at least can make an informed decision.
Yep.
Because some of them had said, well, if I made this decision and you're saying the best decision no, what I tell them is the decision that I tell you is the most efficient or the most economical is a business decision. It's not necessarily. And you might choose this and it actually works better than I have to go off the base. The base is pick the large pizza because it is financially better for you. You're going to get more stuff. You pick the two for whatever reason, then as long as you can justify, and we talk about that, justify your decision. Don't make a decision just to make a decision. Another funny story, if you got, like my wife, for example, for years we'd go to the grocery store and she would say, get that lasagna. And I'm like, which one? She said, the one that says family style. I'm like, just curious, why'd you pick that one? I do experiments with my wife. She's like, because family style is the better deal. I'm like, actually, honey, the better deal is to get the two smaller sizes, get two of them. And she was like, no, it says family style. Well, I said, no, this is the better deal. She goes, you don't know that. And I go, honey.
Do you know who you're talking to?
I tell her, I said, the price per unit is in the little orange box.
Yeah, that's right.
The price per unit is better. And she was like, give me the family style.
I literally do this for a living.
Yeah. But I'm her husband, so I have to go home with the family style
definitely.
and just do what I have to do. So. But that's a good example of just she made a decision. She's my wife. She likes it to say family. She did it to spite me too. But she made a decision. We enjoyed our lasagna, and we're fine. But I mean, there wasn't. If I was going off pure economics, then I'm going to take the other.
Yeah.
So
I always do that. I think toilet paper is the one I look at the most for unit price. That's like, I'm just getting the cheapest one here.
I can see G in Walmart right now. He gets the buggy, puts his laptop down on the little child seat. He's got Excel up. Every single thing he picks up.
Yeah.
Like. Oh, no, this isn't the best deal. We're going to get a different one.
I like to joke with her, chum, like, we got to go this way. She's like, why? I go, because the most efficient route through the store for what we need this time is, and she's like, no, we're not doing that.
Yep.
We're not doing that. So.
It's like with gas. There's like a cheaper gas station just down the road, but it's actually, that works at the exact same to go there to get gas and just get on the way past Bevo's.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that everybody should have access to the data and then make your own decision. That's it. Because we're intuitive creatures. I mean, sometimes I make decisions based off intuition. Doesn't mean they're always right. Sometimes it's all I can do. But if I have the numbers, I'm going to make decisions based off numbers if I can help it. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, aside from school, academics, just your classes and everything, do you have any kind of hobbies? Things that you like to do? Outside of everything, hanging out with your kids, going on vacations,
Yeah, my wife and I love to travel. We have a camper. We have a 30-foot camper, so we love to go camping.
That's fun.
Oh, it's incredible. It's funny. I tell people I'm going camping. They're like, how do you sleep in a tent? I don't sleep in a tent. My wife doesn't sleep in a tent. So
we have a camper.
Yeah, we have a kid. We love to go camping. Kind kind of interesting.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Yeah, we love camping, so we camp a lot when we have chance to. It's incredible. We go different places along the coast right now.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, look out at the beach, drink our coffee in the
Yes.
morning.
Oh my gosh.
beautiful.
Take me with you.
So much cheaper, by the way, to do that. If you rent a like for example, we go to Gulf State Park a lot. If you rent a condo over there during the summer, it's $450 a night. The campsites over at Gulf State Park are $69.99 a night.
Dang.
And my camper note is like $400. So I take the camper, set it up.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's beautiful. I spend a lot of time with my family. My daughter's coming home. My other daughter lives here in town. This is kind of interesting because I used to compete athletically and my body just won't do it. I play a lot of poker.
Interesting.
Because I use the math.
I'd say very statistically heavy, yeah.
Yeah, and then interesting, a friend of mine in the English department about a year ago got me into Magic the Gathering, and I know that's kind of interesting, but it's basically, I love chess. It's chess and poker mixed. It's a card game.
Oh, wow.
So
Sounds like a headache.
oh, my mind is constantly. Even my wife, but both my daughters took it up, and their fiance and boyfriend. So all 5 of us play together, and it's just an incredible bonding experience. I never thought I would be into Magic.
Oh, so it's not just a 2-player game. Like
It's
a bunch of
multiplayer.
people. Oh, now that sounds fun.
Oh, it's so fun, and so that's something that's my wife. We tried to get my wife. Me and my daughters had her on a camping trip in the camper, and it was raining, and we're like, oh, we'll get. But my wife says when she leaves work, she doesn't want to think at all. She doesn't want to go, and I'm always thinking. So we do a lot of that, and we go to concerts. I've seen Dionne at concerts before. We love concerts. I love spending time with my family. It's like the older I get.
Yeah.
Even my parents live in the neighborhood next to me, and they're 77, 76. They're still rocking and rolling. And we spend a lot of time together. So family's always been important, but it really has I've honed in on family over the years. So that's just the way I like. I like friends, family. I like camping, travel, things like that. So I just like life. I'll be honest with you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I like waking up every day.
I can agree.
So yeah, this is awesome.
Such a good positive energy.
You got You got to be.
Exactly, yeah.
I told my wife, because my wife's a little bit negative.
Yeah.
So you be the negative side. I'm going to be the positive side.
Sorry, I'm not going over there.
We work well together. We're like yin and yang.
It'd be great to schedule your classes first thing in the morning, so these people come in, leave the rest of the day with a positive energy or positive vibe would be fantastic.
Yeah, you guys, if you get a chance and you want to come see a class in the future, just come by and see.
Yeah, that'd actually be really cool.
I think you'd enjoy it. I can introduce you guys. You could be a guest speaker. We talk about.
Oh yeah,
that could be funny. Yeah, that actually would be good.
Yeah.
We'll both be here next year, so next semester.
I love guest speaking.
Yeah.
We need to do that sometime. We can even do an example. Maybe if you guys think about it, do an example where you talk about statistics in sports. Because I tell my students about it. Just say, hey, we use this, and because there has to be some way your coaches are using statistics.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yes.
I mean, my roommate. It was Saturday. I'm sure he's probably had your class before. His name's Carter Tennerman. He was bored on Saturday, created an entire Microsoft Excel document for all the pole vaulters in our conference. Got every single pole vault height that they jumped throughout the season, got an average height for each competitor, and then, included his, and then he found roughly the exact height that he would need to jump at conference to score points for the team, solely using statistics.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, he came to an exact number based off of pure data. He has to jump like 475, which is like 15 feet, 6 inches, something like that.
That's incredible.
Purely from data. So, yeah, you can definitely use it in track as well.
There's some guys that love it. Like, we were on a team, a relay team back years ago, and some guy took out his phone, he opened up a Dropbox, and he had the fastest times and the season best, personal best in every race of every athlete that we ran against in the relay from all the different countries. I don't even know how he got all the data. He had just unlimited access. But I mean, I'm talking maybe 80 athletes in every single race I'd ran that season, and putting us exactly where we'd have to run in each split to be on par.
Gracious.
It was incredible.
That's incredible. Yeah, this is exactly what it's about. Also, Brian, you could talk about your business.
Oh, yeah.
Your business would be cool. Come talk to the students and tell them about your business.
And I mean, I use data analytics all the time with my business as well, especially, tracking like all of our advertisements and things like that. I'll change around the ad copy, mess around with the pictures, mess around with the text, and then there's all kinds of different metrics, that I look at to see like what copy does best, what wording does best, things like that.
That's exactly right. So both of them, sports examples, your business examples, plus you guys are a testament to what getting an education and finishing and doing will. So that would be great.
We could kind of end it off too, like encouraging students to join the MBA program or something like that.
Or
that would also be really good.
Yeah.
Even what you guys are doing now, if you told students, hey, we work here at the college, we ran podcasts, if you guys are doing this, that's the kind of stuff though that we need to spread out to students.
Yeah.
And
We got to get more students involved in, extracurricular things with the school period.
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, since COVID's over, everybody's got to break out of their shells.
Exactly, yeah, get back into that in-person experience. We even just had Dr. Larry on talking about the Jaguar Investment Fund.
Yeah.
Get more people involved in that. They had like 10 leaving after this semester, so they need to fill those spots again. So yeah, it'd be great. And that works so well with data then as well, doing the actual stock and forecasting and econometrics. A lot of
Funny, and another real quick story about, do you guys know Ridge Ham, a senior? He's one of our top seniors.
I don't know. I don't think I've met him.
Great young man. We've become close over the past 4 years. But I give you a great example. He had my class. Then one day he came, this is the semester after, and he's like, he said, Mr. Tashbin, I ran all these numbers. What do you think? He had taken stocks. He was preparing for the JAG fund that he wasn't even going to get into until years later. He's like, I've done this. And he said, will you look at this? I said, this is impeccable.
Yeah.
I said, man, I started taking notes. I go, maybe I need to invest in some of this. I put this in my pocket.
Yeah.
But he was one of our best. He did the JAG fund twice, and it's just been incredible. But he said after the class, he really wanted to get into it because he looked like fun. And I was like, this is amazing, and he's one of the young men that's going to go out and do some really cool things in life. So, just give you an example.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting. He did it on his own.
Yeah,
he's like, I said, why did you do this? Just curious. Are you investing? He goes, not yet, but I want to take the JAG fund in a couple of years. I'm like, what? It's incredible.
A couple of years, really planning ahead.
That's some real good planning. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great, man. I think statistics, everybody should have access to it, and that's what we do in the class. We try to get
and know how to utilize it.
Correct. Because I tell my students, you're not here just to pass a class on your checklist to graduate. You're here to get some skills, marketable skills that can help you in the future. Let's do it. And
I mean, the degree does a lot, but ultimately you have to be able to show for it as well.
Exactly.
Make them employable.
Yeah, don't
make them employable. That's right.
Don't just use AI for everything. Like, you seriously got to get in there and learn.
Yeah.
Especially with statistics. I mean, I've tried using artificial intelligence for statistics, and I'll tell you, most of the time it is spotty or wrong. So do your own work.
Yes, we have to see that it's wrong. That's the big thing. And interpret that then.
Like, even with the moving company, I'll try to get it to do some statistics for me, and I'm just looking at the numbers like, this is not right, and then I go through and I do it by hand, and it was wrong. So, be careful out there.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And I suppose we can wrap up then with anything you want to say to prospective students or current students to encourage them or why they should be doing data and business in the Mitchell College of Business at South.
Well, get involved. When you get with the new students, when you get on campus, come see me. My office is 157. Come see me. Professors here do want to get to know people. Sometimes I know socially. So come see us. We also do some undergraduate research as well. Dr. Chow runs some undergraduate research. That's a great way to get involved. One of the students here who's graduating, she got involved with me a couple of years ago. We did some incredible research on leadership. We presented together. She was such a great young person that she took my daughter under her wing and didn't have to, and she changed my daughter's life in a priceless way.
Oh, wow.
And it's because of the relationship that we all had earned, because she was in my class, and she actually, I don't know if you guys know Cheyenne Jackson. She's president of KD sorority. Like today, my wife and daughter, we gave her a graduation gift because she's been so good to us. But that relationship doesn't happen if she doesn't, after my class, say, hey, I enjoyed being with you, and then I offered that up. We did research together. So that just gives you an example. Get involved. There's plenty of good clubs on campus and College of Business. Let's do that. So that's what I recommend in terms of recruiting. Is if you get involved, there's so many people here that want to do some cool things with you.
Yeah, just be open, be willing to meet new people, try new things. I mean, that's what college is all about.
Exactly.
Making new friends, building those connections, because you never know who's going to, help you out later in life.
Exactly.
Who's to say that friend you make isn't the one that helps you get some awesome job in 4 or 5 years, or down the road something bad happens and you need some help, and that person that you met here is the reason that you're going to be all right. So
Exactly, yeah.
it's very important.
Well, I look forward to meeting all the new students and current students. Come see me. I'd be happy to help you, talk to you. So, I mean, that's just the stuff. Let's all get involved.
Yep, let's do it.
It's a great way to end it. Thank you very much, G, for joining us on the
Thank
you
podcast.
so much,
This was
G.
fun.
That was great. That was really
We've been
good.
waiting for this for a while.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And that's the end of the season, actually, for the podcast now. It's number 15.
Thank you, Dionne, too, for this. Yeah, the whole series you guys have done has been incredible. So thank you guys for that. Yeah.
Thank you, G. Can't wait to release them all. And
Yeah, there's
I'll let you know as soon as this is out.
plenty more to come
Yeah.
in the future.
But that's everything from me, Shane.
That's it.
And me, Brylan. Thank you
All
guys.
right, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to By the Numbers, brought to you by the Mitchell College of Business. Stay tuned. There'll be a new episode coming soon.